And we are live here at the Real Talk. The Real Talk, I don't even know what that means. Hey guys, welcome to Imaging Music HQ. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, you will see that I am hosting these Real Talks with various humans from around the world, talking about issues that matter, talking about their areas of expertise, and hopefully bringing some positivity, sunshine, and happiness to your corner of the world. I'm super thrilled to be joined today by the incredible Mathias music, singer-songwriter who you will have seen I was doing a quarantine-friendly duo show with this morning, and the goddess that is Alisha, aka Abdelilah. I don't even know how to say her Instagram handle, but the details are in the description here. Who is an editor, stylist, and a blogger. I'm super thrilled to have you guys both with me. Thank you so much for being here. How are y'all doing?
Great.
Awesome.
Cool. What's going on?
It's Monday and it's the 4th of May, so may the 4th be with you all.
Yeah.
And also with you.
Sorry, you cut out a little bit. I need to be geeky. Yeah, yes. Embrace my inner nerd. I forget these things.
That's, a lot of people are afraid this is going to become Baby Yoda Day, just because Baby Yoda is taking over the fandom by storm. So
I love it. That's cool. How are you celebrating May the 4th?
By wearing this dress.
That's awesome.
A lot of memes and sending them to my friends.
That's cool.
I always send something to one friend every single year for the past like 10 years. Because I mean, I like Star Wars, but I just don't have any Star Wars anything. And so, but I know that this friend is obsessed with it. So I just send her some like a meme or a GIF or something every single year. That's it.
That's awesome. Brett Johansson and Dan Wolf and Mike Pete are now joining us.
Hello.
Welcome. Happy May the 4th with you guys. Words are not coming to me very clearly today, so I'm going to let most of y'all do the talking today.
We have so much talking that we do.
I mean, this is a thing, right? I think, I don't know, for me personally, since being in quarantine, and I was just marveling that it's now week 7 for me, means that I haven't had a haircut for like 4 months, which is upsetting. Maybe even 5 months. I can't do math today.
No one can tell, darn you.
Your hair looks amazing.
Thank you. It's the cheapest hair gel that I could find at Walmart. You're welcome.
That's good.
Yeah, I feel like since being quarantined, the amount of like online Zoom calls and phone calls and Instagram calls and WhatsApp calls and Skype calls has just like plummeted, like not plummeted, the opposite of plummeted. It's increased exponentially. Skyrocketed. So I'm just, my brain is.
You're good. We got you.
I'm going to choose to communicate via singing from now on. Songwriting can be my...
Like me this morning.
Michael Fields has just joined us. If anybody is in the realm of LA or wants to know what's going on in LA, Michael did a live stream show last night from his home base over in Los Angeles. He is also a wonderful human who works at Whiskey A Go-Go, which is a very revolutionary, I don't know, it's one of my favorite hotspots in LA. It makes my heart happy, mostly because I'm an inner metalhead who likes everything. We met my first time at Whiskey A Go-Go. I didn't realize who he was, and he invited me to his house for his birthday party, and we ended up like, I met the guitarist from Four Non Blondes and all kinds of, yeah. Michael is the man, basically. He knows a lot of really cool people. He is a really cool people, and I just like to pretend that I'm cool from time to time. There's Michael. And Lewin's here from New Zealand. Awesome. Okay, so how are you guys doing? How are you feeling today?
Feeling good.
Awesome. Pretty
Yeah.
awesome.
The weather's warming up, and that is a wonderful thing. I also just got a letter in the mail saying that I qualified for, pandemic unemployment assistance. So I'm an extremely happy woman right now. So
That's awesome.
yeah,
That's awesome.
doing really good, doing great.
Congratulations. Yeah, I've just received notification that I could be eligible for that. There's more, paperwork that I'm terrible at doing. So
You're on your way. You got this. Come on. I hate paperwork too. And I was feeling like that. So if you need anything, want me to walk you through it, even though I hate it myself, at least,
I filled it out. I went to the supermarket. I got hit on 3 times by people driving past. It was awkward with my mask on. Like, you don't even know what I look like, man. What's up?
That's
I
the
could be a
ultimate
horrible
catfishing,
person.
right? Like
No.
dating
I mean,
in 2020.
We're a gorgeous woman, and also people are lonely. So it says a lot if they're like, I don't even care what the rest of her looks like. I could tell. They're probably projecting onto you also, but it's too bad because, we're just.
It's awkward. It's awkward. I don't know. Anyway, so I filled out the application, remaining application.
Yay!
Sent that off.
Good
So
job.
it's funny. It's funny. I have some mixed thoughts on this whole process because, obviously coming from a country like New Zealand where, it's relatively socialist, I guess, and then living here and seeing how Americans respond to socialism until we need it. It's really amazing.
Oh,
Touche.
That's an entirely different conversation.
Yeah, true.
That's not why I brought you in today. You're right. Cool. So, Alisha, can you give me a rundown on who you are, what you're about, and yeah.
Yeah, so basically, as you said, I am a blogger. I've been on Instagram for a long while, and I started it out as kind of a photo diary for different experiences. And over time, I became what I like to call a personal empowerment enthusiast. I'm sure you could chew on that in your mouth because it's quite a mouthful. So basically, I'm all about people just embracing the process of being authentic and what that means to them. And a lot of that involves flying directly in the face of everything you've been told, conditioned to believe, etc. And one thing that a lot of people like about my page on Instagram is that not only does it have things like, my rock and roll style, my nerdiness, but also a lot of disc golf, which I'm very passionate about and enjoy playing. I'm not a pro, but I'm getting better at it day by day, and the community is great with that. I do live yoga streams. So here's the thing about that. I started doing it as an experiment, kind of like, oh, let me try this video. You know what? Let me just put myself out there and try and do it live and get people to join me, and I'll give a review of the video. And what's helped me become stronger, will help me get through mental blocks, and what helps if you're in a specific sport, kind of like the one I've mentioned. So it's a little bit of that and this, and kind of self-reflection and meditations that I'll post and so on. So
That's awesome. That's really cool. I am yet to do any of the yoga stuff because I'm terrible at pausing my life. So I'm gonna get onto that. This week is on my bucket list. That's cool.
So there's a misconception, and I'll wrap up because I know we want to talk to Stephanie. Is that I like calling myself out because the younger me had a very not so nice idea about yoga, just because I saw who was doing it and the hypocrisy of the people who were doing it. But honestly, if you do power yoga, vinyasa flow, or sculpt yoga, you get done with that practice like you got kicked in the ass, and you feel like
I've done that.
feel like you squatted a bunch, you deadlift it, you really feel that way. And if you ever hit a wall, just imagine The Rock screaming at you. No, imagine Joe Rogan and The Rock screaming at you, and you'll push through it real quick.
I think part of it is I used to do hot yoga back in New Zealand, and one of my last sessions before I left the country, I went with my then partner, who was from Detroit and was not the nicest for humans. And I remember just lying there. It was a vinyasa session, hot yoga. It was like however many degrees in the room, I think 40 degrees Celsius or something ridiculous. What is that in Fahrenheit? I'm going to say like 95, 90 degrees or something. It was hot. And I remember just lying there and crying. Like, all it was just like, oh, it was like a purging of my soul for a minute. So ever since then, I just haven't really done yoga.
Never want to talk through that.
You know, that actually might be a legit thing. Like maybe there's some stuff that you needed to let go, you know, like some negativity that needed to.
Yeah, I like
Speaking
that.
of energy healing,
sure.
that could have been what happened under some views.
It doesn't have to be that dramatic, I promise. I'll do it. You can do it live with me and I'll hold you and talk through it if you need me to.
Oh, that's funny. Poor thing.
Oh, goodness. Okay, Stephanie, who are you? Tell me about yourself.
Hey, I'm singer-songwriter, violinist, and pianist, mom. I am exploring healing myself, really big advocate for mental health, and being, you know, I have a lot in common with Alisha in terms of just trying to be true to yourself. That's basically my motto. And yeah, I know that we were talking about religion today, so I'm a really religious person and excited to share a little bit about that. And I think that's about it. I love karate. That's my hobby, and I miss it a lot. And yeah. What else? Oh, I just started my own company called Singers and Strings Event Music, and I've been able to support not only, you know, work full time, but also, you know, afford some recording and stuff with that business, of course, until the pandemic hit. So it's been a really interesting past few weeks for me. Just sort of, I've been through all the stages of grief during this song, you know. So, but I'm happy that I'm getting help financially from the government. So I'm feeling really good right now, and just grateful. So
Really cool.
yeah.
So you were talking about because it's interesting. I'm gonna go straight for the jugular. I hope you don't mind, because I, as somebody who's from New Zealand, with a mother like I have, and with a family kind of structure that I have always kind of been raised with this very different outlook to belief systems, faith, spirituality, and religion. And one of the things that I like, so when I grew up, I don't know if you have it here in the States, but we have like a one-day mandatory Bible in schools, at public schools in New Zealand, where you get somebody to come in and discuss Christianity of some description. And yeah, it's really interesting.
I don't think that would be allowed here.
No, definitely not.
Right. But you know, that was kind of like people's ways of like learning about God and Jesus and whatever else that religious you know, structure taught. But when that became a thing for me, my mother withdrew me from it, and instead we went on our own religious exploration of, you know, visiting different temples, different whatever places of worship, to discover more about what that different religion offered and practiced and etc. Because for my family, I have everything from Muslim background to Lutheran background, Methodist, Jehovah's Witness, and Sannyasin, which is an ancient Indian practice. So like super diverse.
Extremes, yeah.
But when I met you, Stephanie, I didn't even realize you're like as devout as you are. So can you talk more about what your background is?
Yeah, so I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. We were previously known as Mormons, but we're not no longer known under that name anymore. And yeah, so growing up, I've grown up under this religion, and it's, oh gosh, I don't even know what to say. So I guess I would say that, like, I don't even know where to start. The main thing about my religion is that, well, we're Christians, and we believe in Jesus, and but we do have some things that make us different from other religions, because we believe that there are still prophets, and we believe that God is still speaking, and that there's continuous scripture being given to us. And so I think that that's the major difference between us and other religions. But there's some lifestyle choices that we have that set us apart as well. Like, we don't drink, and we don't, those are some of the things. But yeah, I don't know, what else should I say about it?
Well, I mean, so when you say that you believe in prophets, as in living prophets, there's still,
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And when they pass on, are they replaced by, I have so many questions, are they replaced by
Go, I'm excited. This is
are they
my
replaced
thing,
by
right?
You're right. So like, let's say that you're a prophet. When you pass on, does your daughter become a prophet?
Okay. So there is no. The way there's it's a whole process. It actually recently happened a year or two ago, where the prophet passed away. And so it's a very structured leadership system, where they've got the prophet, and then they have his counselors. It's almost like a government, because they have, it builds lower and lower, and then they have local leaders, and then all the way down to the family, leaders of your family, right? So yeah, when the prophet passes away, then the whole group under him gets together, and they pray, and they all have to vote unanimously on who's going to be the next prophet, because usually God will tell them, right? Because they're all prophets too. Right. But the person who's actually, the one leader, or the one speaking for God, in charge of all of them, so has to be chosen. So they do that. That's how that works.
Is the prophet always male?
He is, yes. I know, as feminists, and I'm a feminist too. So I mean, I guess you can define feminist in a way, but just that men and women have different roles in the church. So there's also like a women's leader, and they have their own structure and all of that too. So they all work, we all work together in our way. So yeah, it's kind of a complicated topic, because people do argue against that, but there's a lot of good responses to it, but I'm not good at articulating them. So
okay.
But I'm just like, it doesn't bother me, because because as women, I have enough to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, and right. and I get enough, have enough communication with God that I don't feel like I'm being gypped in some way. So,
Okay. Alisha looks like she has a question.
I am just an interesting soul overall. Okay, my family is also like your heritage, Emma. My mom grew up in a Roman Catholic family. My dad's side is Muslim, and therefore I was raised Muslim. I still identify as that. I'm half Italian and half Moroccan, half New York Italian, is a special flavor in a very awesome way. Anyway, I could just picture I would go to church with my grandma, not out of worship when I was a kid, but rather just so I wasn't alone. So I got to observe all of that. And that actually kind of looked me into the Gothic, interestingly enough, because Italian Roman Catholic or Roman Catholic churches are pretty Gothic. So anyways, yes, I was raised Muslim. That is my faith system. That's what I believe in. And I also am into spirituality. Like, even when I did study Islamic theology and so on, so I do have a good understanding of it. And I just became kind of smacked in the face with the concept of reading energy and energy work, and that became something that just could not be ignored. Islam itself has a lot of misconceptions, and I'm really exhausted with that conversation, just because I feel like I have to keep explaining it again and again.
I know the feeling.
And if you look at me and you meet me on an instant, you'll see somebody who can very much stand up for themselves, speaks for themselves, provides for themselves. I am not a woman who needs anybody. So, if you want to join my party, you're welcome. When I say party, I mean, obviously dating or whatever, if that's cool, but I don't need anybody. I guess to kind of just speak to your point, kind of what Stephanie was talking about, there's a lot of equity rather than a woman does this, a man does this in Islam. And I will say that there's a lot of things that happen in Islam that protect women, not in the media brainwashed Western bullshit hegemonic crap that we've seen. It's much different. So if anybody's curious, I'm going to give you homework to read this book, and this book alone. It's called Islam in Focus. That is, again, for me studying religion, I didn't give a shit about who raised me and who told me what. I went out, I learned about it for myself. That's what I did. And then, in fact, there were points later on down the line in my family where I would have disagreements because I was like, you guys are making this stuff up. Or, you know what, if you're really about this, well, that says this, and that's not okay. And I study theology. I'm not trying to pop your bubble here, but we need to reconsider things. So, I take that faith with me. It is in my heart. And I think one reason why I'm interested in the concept of energy work, shadow work, things like crystals and healing is because it is an aspect of ourselves that does not get talked about a lot. I think in Islam, there are things where it talks about dreams still being prophetic and people just knowing things. That's kind of a gift. So that concept of intuition, it's described in certain capacities in certain religions, or in religion. So that's kind of what I'm interested in spending a little bit of time on. Because it kind of feels like reinventing the wheel whenever we're constantly talking about Islam as being, the same kinds of misconceptions again and again. But if anybody asks me, I mean, they'll say she could talk for herself. She doesn't need anybody. It's not a pride thing. It's completely self-sufficient. I do my job, as they say. I do my job. No, So there is no dependence on anyone. And if anything, if we wanted to talk about women are allowed to work in Islam, if a woman doesn't want to clean her house, her husband has to get her one. A woman can divorce her husband if he doesn't sleep with her for 4 months. All that stuff. It's
really
there. Yes.
Okay, interesting.
I'm just saying, where's girlfriend gonna go? You're not supposed to cheat. What do you want her to do? Woman's got needs.
I love that they put a time frame on it, like 4 months.
I know, that's what I'm thinking.
What do you want?
But yeah, I mean, I like that you say that because I come from a religion that gets a lot of misconceptions and things too. So I'm just glad that you say that. It's like, I'm over it. If you have read this book and then come talk to me.
What are the main misconceptions for you, Stephanie, that you that you are kind of over?
The polygamy thing. A lot of people think that I think that's one of the reasons. I mean, that's not one of the official reasons, but one of the reasons why we no longer go by Mormon, because a lot of like religions branched off of us and still practice polygamy. So people ask about that, and that's really annoying. And then also like I said, the feminist thing, like why can't women, hold certain positions in the church and things like that. So it's just like, I'd rather talk about Jesus and happy things. I'm just, like, I'm just like, there's so many good things about it. So yeah. But really, and also, I don't know. I think that yeah, there's that people question why, why I don't drink alcohol, don't drink coffee, things like that. But for the most part, really, I mean, to be honest, people are really supportive. So, but but sometimes I still feel awkward talking about it because I've been asked so many of those awkward questions that I'm just like, I don't like confrontation, so I'm just like, okay.
Well, two things just to respond to that. One, a lot of, if we're going to talk about, this is a big argument I would have with my family, is they would try to insert culture into religion. And I was like,
oh my gosh. That's a whole nother. You're projecting this concept through a patriarchal lens, and you're pushing that on me when I'm going to say no. So good luck trying to I'm not. Another thing regards to your thing, Stephanie, in Islam, you don't drink. So I actually didn't drink. Yay!
I was in my now, but again, I voice as an adult, and I have my journey that I have to consider, because part of it is rebellion, part of it is reconciling issues that I've had
judgment.
Growing up with folks. So like, the bigger journey, can I separate the idea of religion and not my father? Do you see what I'm saying? It's kind of that. So that's a very compounded issue that I hope to solve one day. But nonetheless, I know who I am. I know what that is. And I know that I made the decision to drink in my 30s. So here's the thing. I have roommates that don't drink coffee. They don't feel bad about explaining to me why they don't drink coffee. This goes into the concept that I was trying to talk about, which is, who gives a shit? This is about you. This is about you. If you don't wear pink, I just don't wear pink. What is the value, the emotional value that we are attaching to other people's opinions? Sure, appreciate them. But if you're going to ascribe value to them, then when they crap on you, it's going to hurt more. So just honor it for what it is. Thank you. But I just don't.
Right.
I find it really funny, Stephanie, because, like, first of all, alcohol's a poison. We all know that. Why is it like that you have to be? I just, like, there are so many things. People use it as a coping mechanism. People use it, like, there is so much in media that concentrates around alcohol and why you're a freak if you don't drink, if you don't whatever. Like, I mean, you know me. I have the occasional glass of wine. This
point, because I'm proud of it. Like,
for sure.
So
I just like, but you'll see, like, a lot of my social circles, but from here in the DC and from back in New Zealand, they don't drink, and that's not a bad, like, whether or not it's because of Jesus or God or whatever, or just because you don't want to poison your freaking body. Like, for real. And the whole coffee thing, I didn't actually realize that until this afternoon. I had no idea. My housemate was telling me, oh, Mormons don't drink coffee. And I was like, well, that's, I feel like that's probably like a weird thing in America, because it's such a coffee culture here. But you don't want to see me drink coffee either. Like, could you imagine me on coffee?
Oh, I start my day with it.
You do? Okay.
That would terrify. Wait, I thought that you basically ran on coffee. You have so much energy.
I don't drink coffee at all.
That's great. That's so good for you. I wanted to talk about something that Alisha said about stepping back and redefining what your religion means to you, because that has been such an important part of my own journey as well. Growing up under a religion, under the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, me and every single one of my siblings and my parents have all had our own journey in this religion. So, for example, I'm out of 5 of us siblings, I'm one of 2 that still practices it. So that's the thing. It's like, you really have to take a step back and decide, and then also, like, how Alisha was saying, like, separating the religion she grew up with her relationship with her parents, because you know, there was a time in my life, I was only 17, where my mom started making some really bad decisions. And I had to decide if I was gonna, you know, blame the religion, or, well, it was like, and it was actually had the opposite effect, because she was going against the religion and it was hurting me. So so I was like, I really clung to it since that time. And so, but then there was also a time when I was around the time that I had Natalie, and I got postpartum depression, and I realized that I had anxiety, which I had my whole life, that I had to say, okay, what things in my religion am I doing that's like almost obsessive compulsive, like because of my anxiety, and what things am I doing because I want to? And so, you know, I used to read scriptures every single day without skipping a day because of the anxiety, right? And the thing is, I developed a real love for the scriptures and all of that good stuff. So it wasn't completely because of the anxiety, but there were some days that I did it because of that. So I had to say, okay, if I don't want to today, I'm not going to, you know. And I had to redefine, like, okay, like if I want to sit in the back of the class, you know, like, or, you know, if I just want to walk out of this class right now because I'm not feeling it, I have every right to, you know, and just sort of allowing myself to redefine, you know, my faith without giving it up, because I was, like I said, I had sworn that I would never do that, but I had to find a way to say, to redefine what my relationship is, continue to pray, continue to ask if I still believed, and all that good stuff. Wow, my voice is shaking. I'm like so worked up and excited to share this, because it's just, it was so mind blowing for me to realize that that I had a choice, and to realize that I still loved it after I had that choice, you know. So that was just like such a special experience for me.
Well,
and,
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. That was it. Yeah.
I was going to say that self-awareness is key, because that's what stops people from being self-aware and recognizing when religion is being used as a tool for manipulation and narcissism. I think that's a very key thing, because you can't be like, oh, let me go run and ask God, and he's on the other door, and you can be like, yo, so this happened, is this cool? You know, and he can't be like, yeah, that's cool. That's not, like, you're left to wonder. And then that's how we wind up like crap, like the Salem witch trials and all this other stuff, because, you know, it's like, no one's there. It's like, oh, because I said so. And hell, you know what? I got two fingers. Guess which ones they are. So that's that kind of behavior. So I think that's definitely an important distinction. And then we carry that self-awareness with us, no matter what. And that carries on into our relationships. I think we, in pre-talking in our meeting before talking elevating the feminine, at this time, I think that we managed to touch on the concept of masculine energy and feminine energy. And again, in order to be able to talk about the feminine, we have to, one, balance your masculine and feminine energies, understand they are within us. And that doesn't mean that naturally you're a dude or naturally you're a chick. No, we have things that make us more of like hunters, and then we have things that make us more nurturing, and as women we can own that. And then finally, a lot of that comes from healing the mother wound. I mean, we hear things like, oh, she's got daddy issues, and that's fetishized, right? Well, there's mommy issues too, and they show up.
And I have tons of them. I've been working with them a lot though, you know, so, and that's, yeah, there's a lot of healing that goes on. That's you know, that I've, like I've said when we talked earlier, like I've done some dabbling in the energy healing stuff, and I found it extremely powerful and complementary to my religion, because, you know, God wants us to find peace and to find healing, and he, you know, so, and I was able to see it in a way that, like I said, just felt like a huge blessing in my life.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's really important to just again, to Alisha's point, to acknowledge that as well, that the masculine and the feminine energies, they both live in both of us, live in all of us rather. So as much as women, I think, especially in the Western world at the moment, are really struggling, or are perceived to be struggling with the masculine energy, you know, she's a bitch if she does X, Y, or Z, where, you know, whatever. Whereas men, I think, you know, also struggle with having feminine energy and the judgments that are placed on them.
I've been learning all
around that as
about
well.
that.
Yeah.
Lately, like we're you know, like some of us women, you know, we have a bit more of that masculine energy inside us. And so, you know, we're perceived as there's something wrong with us, when really God created us as we are. So like, he has no problem with this being feminine, right? That's our definition of femininity, of being a woman. So it's like, and men, and the other way around with men, you know. And I think that I'm just so grateful to be at a time where people are realizing that, like, hey, you know, you don't have to be there's no stereotype anymore, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't exist. There's women who are soft and gentle, and then there's women like us where we're just bold and outspoken and get stuff like just bossing everyone around, like, you know.
The stereotypes exist. We're just having more of a dialogue about them.
Yeah. Well, right.
You know, so it's I think I don't know if that's what you mean to say, but
that's what I meant to say.
Yeah, that's okay. So, and that's key. And everyone could talk about dating as a nightmare, and I looked at myself the other day, and I could honestly see my masculine energy and my feminine energy, and I was like, look, I am everybody I need. I'm everybody I want. If I were to have a partner, I am my own ideal partner. And I completely trust myself in that. So people who are not comfortable with their energy, or afraid to, especially with guys, like fuck, cry, please. Let me know. It's okay to cry. Express what you need. You know, you don't have to go like, yeah, bro, what? Although, ironically, that's how I started playing. I get along with bro dudes very well. But that's another story.
But if that's their natural self, they can be that, but nobody else has to, you know?
Or don't suppress. It's not suppressing.
Right.
But balancing them, like, you know, talk about your feelings. That doesn't make you bad. And a lot of the things that we experience in partnership, in dating, and friendships, because friendships can be karmic, as they say, as well, is these issues that stem, these patterns that stem from childhood, this programming that if you have a parent who is unstable, you develop abandonment issues. If you have a father who expects you just to serve, your sense of what you need becomes devalued. Therefore, you become, I forgot what the term is. It's not submissive, because that's different. It's a kind of codependency. A lot of narcissists have this tool where it's like, if you value yourself or you put a boundary, how dare you, because you're not serving. And each of us has their own will. So the more, look, and you will continue to meet people in your life that pull up the same wound in a different package until it no longer triggers you.
And that's both in relationships, friendships,
life, everything,
workplaces,
everything.
Hashtag self-employed.
Yeah.
You are somebody who is an empath, someone who is a light worker. You have to know what a lot of people don't realize is, just if you're not grounded, the presence of somebody whose frequency is off will, the grossness will attach yourself to. You will feel like you just walked through downtown LA in the smog or in a sandstorm and you need to go home and take a shower. It's a real freaking thing. And for those of you like, people were like, oh, it's mumbo jumbo. No, things have frequencies. There's a reason why you feel like, oh, I'm getting a bad vibe about somebody. It's because they're probably operating on a lower frequency. Greed, anger, hate, whatever. It's low vibe. There's a reason why you get a feeling to run away. For somebody who is high vibe, and this is why I started doing my live yoga, not out of ego, but I was like, what if I could lift everybody's vibration just by me trying something new, me being vulnerable, and everybody's going to feel good about themselves. And they'd be like, oh man, what are they doing? I want to know what they're all about. Let me gravitate towards them. That is
that's basically our work as musicians.
Yeah.
Is we're trying to do that, right? Like,
that's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah.
I knew it.
No, it's true. And energy will always go where you put your attention, right? Mm-hmm. So you walk around and constantly think, my day is shit, my day is shit, my day is shit. Okay, well, you're about to step in a big pile, like right now.
Yeah, energy flows where your attention goes. 100%.
Yeah, and it's hard too, because when like I said, that's one of the things I've been learning is, like, the more you focus on what you don't want, it's gonna be what you're drawn to. That's why I need to go back. I want to go back and take one of these classes again, because I really need to like realign my energy, because my energy has been pandemic anxiety. And then I'm scared, and it hasn't been a fun experience. And now that like, you know, that I feel a bit better, things are going okay. I'm like, okay, now I can sort of raise back up to continuing to better myself again.
So on that note, Stephanie, like, because dude, I mean, we've been in constant communication for the last 7 weeks since, you know, since this pandemic became a thing. And I've like, we've been able to balance, I feel like you and I have been able to balance each other quite well. Alisha, you and I have as well over the last couple of weeks that we've been chatting, which has been fantastic. One of the things that I've been sort of, because I'm a big believer of that, your, you know, energy flows where your attention goes. I've been, you know, dedicating a lot of my time to writing music. I've just sit in my studio, I'm recording, I'm doing these online shows and things, and like really just trying to feed my spiritual self that I've been neglecting so much for the last 5 years of living in DC. So how is it that, like, now that you're feeling better in terms of financial safety, in terms of, I don't know, maybe you're looking from side to side going, yeah, sure, yeah.
No, I'm just like, I am saying, like, feeling like this, because like it's embarrassing how freaked out I've been, considering how okay I am now, but you know, but it's real. Like, the struggle is real.
It's not helpful to feel guilty about feeling.
No, I don't feel guilty.
You know, so but my question, I guess, is like, how are you choosing to show up?
Okay, so I'm excited because, well, you know, and I have been continuing to push forward in the sense of, okay, I'm going to focus on my music, thankfully, because I have you, Emma, to inspire me, but also I have decided to go back to my morning routine of spending time, waking up a little bit earlier, spending time reading scriptures, and also spending, you know, like I said, I want to do one of these courses again where I take some time to do some energy work every day, like just sort of to ground myself, or, you know, or even just have some time to myself in the morning. And so that's sort of what I've started today, because my schedule has rearranged back where my husband's working in the morning. So now when I wake up, I have that time to myself. And that's been it. And also I'm, and I felt really inspired that I want to, you know, to dig deeper into my religion, and take, you know, and study a little bit more than I have been, and share a little bit more, and just to be unashamed of it, and also to crap, I lost my train of thought after that. Completely lost my train of thought, but the point is that, and I've also decided that I am probably going to go back to therapy.
Oh, fantastic.
So you know, and I'm going to be taking another class, like energy healing type course, one that specifically focuses on money, because I want to think about my business when the pandemic ends, and think about, you know, how I want to support myself, because my spending patterns aren't always the best. So, or just something that I want to take a look at, and also, you know, just kind of refocus, redefine what I want to do moving forward. And so I'm trying to do a lot right now, because I realized that when I wasn't taking care of my mental and spiritual health as much, and focusing on, oh my gosh, I have no money, and freaking out because all the things that I wanted were not happening. And so it's like, okay, well, I need to take care of my mental health so that I can be focused, and so that it'll be easier for me to achieve what I do want. So all of those good things. So I'm kind of excited about it. I'm excited that I've I've made this decision to do that, and that I'm in a place where, because for a lot of weeks and months it felt like, okay, that's just another thing that I have to do, and it was stressing me out. So I was able to get to a place where, okay, like I'm ready for it to feel not like that. So
right.
yeah.
Alisha, how are you showing up?
Oh, let me answer something to her really quick. So here's the thing about the wonderful world that we live in. We have the internet, we have our social media, which can be used as a tool for empowerment or a tool for disempowerment, depending on how you, like if you look through my feed, I guarantee you nobody's twerking. So
Nobody's what?
Twerking. There ain't nobody twerking on my feed. So, but there's there might be some, head banging and all that other stuff, because all that's super empowering, right? So the point is, it just takes a couple minutes a day. There, literally, how I got into yoga is a 7-minute yoga practice. Start with your root chakra. Root chakra is what grounds you if you're feeling anxious and like survival instinct, or just like that mama bear rage wants to come out. I'm not a mama bear, but sometimes I got that rage. Henry Rollins is I love him so much. I can get snaps to that, right?
I went and saw him on my birthday, which happened to be election day in 2016. He blew my freaking mind.
Oh my God.
Super helped me deal with the result of that election.
Yes. So anyway, so I dropped that because if whoever remembers Henry Rollins from Black Flag days, yes, I have those moments where I feel like that. So, and honor it as part of yourself. So feel it, hold it, understand the purpose of these feelings. They are there for a reason. Anger is there because something is threatening our sense of security. Anxiety is there.
All about that.
Anxiety is there because back in the day, we're supposed to run from woolly mammoths. Well, guess what? That lasts for 10 seconds. He's gone. I'm faster than him. I don't need this going on or waking me up at 3 in the morning, right? Hit the mat. If you don't have a mat, you have a carpet, whatever. 7 minutes. I'll send you the video. I'm not paid to do this. I'm just very enthusiastic about my resources. So
I'm similar, so I will look at it.
Minutes. Do it.
I just suck at yoga, so we'll see how it goes. Well, I tried the vinyasa kind. I'm like, oh, I'm dead. Hopefully it's more peaceful.
Well, and those thoughts that keep coming up, especially when you're going on walks and stuff like that, that's like, oh, I need to deal with that. So I talked to a really good friend of mine on the internets. If you don't know her, April the Energy Oracle, she's wonderful. So she describes what's going on. All that you wake up in the morning like, why am I so pissed off today? I haven't even talked to anybody yet. Or why do I really want to hug? Why do I really want like a whole freaking plate of cookies right now? Like, what is that, right? So it's like a way to describe energy. So she was very helpful talking about different kinds of energy in the atmosphere. Check her out if you want a different perspective. There's also retrogrades coming up, and astrology is just a means of describing what is happening. You're not put in a box. We all have free will, because Lord knows that's how some people have made some dumb choices in life. But anyway, but the thing is that we have 2 key retrogrades coming up. We have Pluto retrograde, blah, blah, blah. Pluto retrograde. Pluto was the god of the underworld. So everything that we've been pushing down, like you ever try to drown a rubber ducky in a bathtub, it doesn't work out well. It's going to fly back up and hit you in the face. So all those self-sabotaging things you've done, all those behaviors and self-limiting beliefs, they're just going to fly on up during this time. Just don't judge yourself for them. Just sit with them, understand them, and understand how, like, just pull yourself out of it. It's probably a little bit easier for me to say because I'm a Gemini, but that's very intellectual. Like, we're very like facts. We like information. So yeah, pull yourself out of it and just understand why that doesn't serve you. What's better? Think of it like a business strategy, right? How can you make your emotions work for you, right? And then so the Pluto retrograde will last until about October the 4th. The Venus goes retrograde in Gemini. So Venus retrograde, Venus is the ruler of love. It is the way you love. She likes things like beauty and so on. But because it's an intellectual sign, she's going to ask us to also think about our relationships in an intellectual capacity. So those relationships that are not serving you, your highest self, who you really are, they're gonna blow, they have a very high chance of falling apart because it is not in alignment with who you really are. So for those people, those things that have fallen apart, in tarot they call them a tower moment. The tower is falling because energy has been stagnant far too long. Let's restore balance. And if you're with somebody who's not on your level, that's an imbalance of energy, and vice versa. If you're not on someone's level, you need to step it up. Otherwise, the universe is going to come in and do that for you. So,
Yeah.
That's really interesting. You know, I'm not an astrology person, but I think that there is a lot of interesting thing. It's interesting the way that things happen in our lives that give us the opportunity to look at things straight in the face, right? And I think that you know, that what you were saying, I think that what you were saying about the you know, controlling, in a sense of controlling how you are reacting to it. You know, if you have, you know, if you realize that the relationship's not working, like, what are you gonna do about it, right? If you realize that you're feeling this anger, like, you know, are you going to shame yourself or just accept yourself, right? So lots of those good things. Something that I wanted to bring up before I forgot was because, you know, like I said, you know, you're gonna send me this video and I'm really excited to try it. But some things, for example, all these things that I'm excited to do, and you know, a couple weeks ago would have felt really overwhelming. And I think that I just want to make a note, being a religious person and knowing how God has been really important in my healing. And, you know, because I know that we're going through a hard time and our healing is, you know, happens not this way.
It's not.
So,
It's not.
and so I know that overall my healing is doing this, right? So, but it's just, you know, but there are things like Alisha was saying, where you're gonna be experiencing things until they completely go away, right? So so like, for example, anxiety is I don't know if it's gonna completely go away in this lifetime, but my journey is getting better. But these experiences that I'm having is, okay, my point is, it's really important to get help, professional help with your mental health along with spiritual help. That was my main point. Both are really important, but make sure to do that, because to do both, because and especially right now, even if people have, you know, if people take away one thing from this, you know, they might realize that they might need to talk to someone, even if they never have before, because it's a really, really hard time right now. I was just talking to my sister. She's been through a ton of mental health issues. And she's like, you know, I'm in a really much better place, but there are still times where, you know, where I struggle, you know? And so can you imagine? And then for, you know, for me too, right? Like, you know, I was like crying, like, oh my gosh, I got to go through this again. She's like, no, this is completely normal. So like for a lot of us that you know, don't be ashamed if you're, not having a good experience right now, and don't be ashamed to ask for help, because this could be a really good opportunity for you to realize that, like, for example, when I had to get therapy, I was in a really bad place, but then I realized, oh my gosh, I went through it, and it took me to be in a hole to realize that I could climb a mountain because, like, got me way better than I'd ever been.
Well, hitting rock bottom is absolutely necessary for some people. You have to be able to wake up one day, and this is so funny because I forget that this is not already understood as part of the dialogue. So thank you for bringing that up. You know, you absolutely have to hit rock bottom. I've known people who are just so stubborn, they'll hit rock bottom again and again and again. And those people are no longer part of my life because it's like, what, I'm not here to fix you. I'm here to support you. And you know, what you need is not something I give you. And there's no shame in that. I really like the stigma of asking for help as the bad thing to end. We are a community for a reason. We are interdependent human beings. All right. If you get therapy, you are not weak. You know, it's like asking your mom for help with something when you're a kid. So that makes you weak, you know?
Right. Yeah. And or
Right.
even asking your mom for help, you're an adult, that you say, hey mom, what's that recipe? Like, it's allowed, you know? It sucks, you know, because I don't have a mom to do that with, but like, so that's why I need therapy. No.
We've got to wrap things up, ladies, unfortunately. This was, you guys are amazing. You guys are amazing. Did you want to make one last point? Both
I
of you?
want to say, if you're going to do therapy, I mean, I encourage you to please, and guys, not all therapy is the same. Not all therapists are equal.
I'm going to my same therapist who I love, so I'm happy.
That's good. There's cognitive behavioral. There's family systems therapy. I highly recommend it. Kind of coincided with the idea of spirituality. Somebody I knew who was doing that was religious, but also encouraged this sort of self-growth stuff. And at the same time, it connects directly into the idea of shadow work, which is actually a psychological term. So I strongly encourage you guys to do that one if that's what's going to work for you, because then you'll be like, oh, that's why I keep going out with guys who are like my dad, or dating girls who are like my mom, because it triggers the root system. But if it doesn't work the first time, don't give up. There's other things, and it doesn't have to be your path to personal empowerment is a beautiful bouquet. That sounds so cheesy, but be eclectic about it, make your own, and be badass about it. Just own it, and just get out there and start ruling.
Preach. Yep.
I feel like I haven't talked at all during this entire podcast. So, but thank you both for showing up. And I can't even be mad about it, because you both articulating so beautifully things that I think about on a daily basis. Yes to therapy, yes to songwriting as a way of you know, learning about how to understand yourself. Yes to experimenting and exploring other religious beliefs so that you can kind of come to peace with what your spirit resides with. Yes to making sure that you are not codependent on anybody, but that you love yourself and acknowledge who that person is so that you can show up like your best self at all times. Because, you know, that's what I love about you ladies, is that you're both whole human beings who are ready to share with the world how to be whole. So thank you so much. I did want to make one or 2 points. First of all, the whole twerking thing is actually a non-sexualized African-American dance that goes way back to Africa, that actually wasn't sexualized at all. But I appreciate the fact that you don't have any twerking videos on your Instagram, only because it has been grossly misproportioned.
That's why, not because of the cultural origin, but just like with drinking, what it represents now. So that's why it's not on there. Also, you get tired of those world star posts. I mean, come on, man. Really? Are people that
For real. Also, I want to let you know that Sean Broughton, I'm hoping that I pronounced that name correctly, says it's really crazy that what this extra time is showing all of us right now. Having a progress-oriented perspective and spreading positivity helps change the energy of everything around us. The energy you release is the energy you receive, and take comfort in knowing that while you may not be where you'd like to be in your journey, you're certainly not where you started. I'm proud of what you're doing, Stephanie Mathias. Keep it up. Great conversation, ladies.
That's my sensei. One of my senseis, Sean. He is one of the most positive, wonderful people. If you ever meet him, he's just, I love him to death. He's an incredible teacher, person, human, sunshine person.
Awesome. Hey, thank you ladies so much for being here today. Thank you for sharing your light, your wisdom, your love.
Thank you. Thanks for connecting me and Alisha.
I mean, and the rest of the world, you know, and I hope whoever is watching this or has taken the time to watch this today or tomorrow or in a month or in a year, that no matter what, you know, no matter where you are in your journey, whether it's during this pandemic or during your lowest of lows or your highest of highs in whatever capacity you are living, that you...
No matter what hell comes our way, we're living proof that love wins.
That's not what I was going to say, but okay, we'll go with that. And we'll be dancing every step we take. On that note, guys, be good, be safe, be kind to each other, spread love like it's going out of fashion, be your own kind of superhero, and call your freaking mum.
You are your